Hi everybody and welcome to this quick video. So this week the GT4 is at Barber Motorsports Park and strangely I've done really well. I've won quite a lot of the races and I've often been the quickest driver out there in the GT4 class. Sometimes in the qualifying over a second quicker than everybody else. So I just thought, since a lot of the viewers of my channel actually race in the IMSA Pilot Sport Challenge as well, I'll just do this quick video to show you my laps and how I think I'm doing the times. So my best lap time is a 128.1. I've got an optimum of 127.8. I've put some video timestamps on here and we're going to look initially at the 128.2 in the race with almost full fuel, and then we'll look at the 128 quali that basically was low fuel. At the end of the video, I'll play both the laps at normal speed without me chatting through it. So skip to that if that's all you're interested in. Okay, I apologise. I'm going to be pausing this quite a lot. Basically, if you want to see the full lap uninterrupted, skip to the end of the video. But here we are, right near the start of the lap. Basically, this is the corner before the long straight. And with any long corner, it's so important that you get a really good run on it. So we're right over to the right. I'm actually in third gear, not second, so it doesn't spin up the tyres and get unsteady. And I'm going to sweep through. Okay, I've already paused it. Number one, just laughed at how pasty my legs look. I'm wearing shorts. I'm not sitting in a nude driving. It's really hot at the moment, so I'm wearing shorts. But the real reason I actually paused it right here is look at my throttle input. I'm only halfway up the bar, and this corner is slightly cambered, and basically if you give too much throttle, it's going to either push you really wide or it's going to get really unstable. And so you kind of come into it, slightly lift, get it to bite into the corner, and then when you feel it grip, that's when you get on the throttle. The fact that we're in third gear as well means that actually it's less likely to spin up the rear wheels. But I see a lot of people going wide here. I think they're getting too hard on the gas too early. And equally, I've seen people spin out here because they're just getting too hard on the throttle or sliding onto the grass and then spinning around. Uh-oh. We've only gone through one corner and I've paused it again. But no, this is really the crucial piece. I think this is the missing piece for why I can go so much faster than anybody else. And this track is one of those tracks where brake bias adjustments make a huge difference. I remember this in the Ferrari GT3 Challenge series, which I used to do really well at. And as soon as I sort of did it, I went, oh, hang on, isn't this one of those ones where the brake bias makes a huge difference as you go around a lap? And here we go. So if you look at the picture in the bottom left corner, you can see my thumb is going to the little joystick to change my brake bias. If you watch on my dash, you'll see the brake bias changing as I'm going round. So I'm using standard, like zero change, 46.5 brake bias. But what you'll notice is as I run into this first corner, I put it -1. So that's 4 clicks backwards. So it'll basically bring it to 45.5. Once I'm through that corner, and a bit later, and I'll point it out as we go around, I'll put the brake bias to roughly about 0, and then I'll put it to plus 0.5 for the rest of the lap. And you'll see me do this every lap, and you'll see that thumb do that. The key reason this is so important is that there's so many corners on this track where either it needs the front end to bite and therefore you're putting the brake bias backwards to basically give you the ability to turn the front in, or you're going through a really unstable section and you need the car to be really stable under the braking. That's why it's so important. Okay, so it's one of those sort of things when you want to lap consistently and quickly, you're looking for things to visualize that let you basically always make sure you hit your braking point, turning point, etc. And this weird colored patch right here is my visual indicator, along with the 2 roughly of where I need to be braking, slowing down, and then turning in. Now, it's not quite on this, it's just beyond it. So when I restart the video, you'll see that as we go through it, we'll just start to brake as we go through it, and then we'll start turning literally a moment after that. Note that the brake bias is obviously at minus 1.00 right now, so 45.5. Okay, so what's great here is that I'm editing this as I'm going along. And I had to pause here because if you look at both the red arrows, literally on that weird coloured patch, before I've got to the 2, I'm halfway on my brakes. So yeah, it just becomes muscle memory. You always sort of brake there. And then we've got a super early turn in with, as you can see in the bottom left, a bit of brake added. Now this is where the -1 brake bias is going to come in, because we're basically going to slightly drag that brake the whole way onto the apex.
Fastest lap for Costa, 1:28.
So I'd actually say this understeered quite a lot here. If you look at my quali 28.1 lap later on, I think you'll see more like what you'd expect here. But the key bit at this point is basically as soon as you feel it grip, get back on that throttle in 4th, pull the car through.
0-0, V2.
Now I personally think I take a different line here than a lot of other people. That might be because I've got my brake bias set backwards, so I can do this. But basically I drag the brake through this and actually hug quite tightly. And as soon as I can see the white kind of apex marker on the inside of the corner, I get on the throttle and push all the way through. You can see the car ahead of me, he's gone really, really wide out to the left. That is an alternative line you can take, but what I find is when you take that line, the car gets a lot more squirmy as you go through the compression. Whereas with this line, you basically go through the compression, full power, and then all the way up the other side. Okay, so hopefully you saw that I moved the brake bias back to 0-0, basically 46.5. Sometimes I'll use this at minus 0.25, sometimes plus 2.5. All depends on how the car's feeling. If the car's feeling a bit loose, plus 2.5 maybe. If it's feeling a bit understeery, maybe minus 2.5. The key thing is this corner we're going into is dropping down and then you're turning. So the weight is going off the front wheels and you've got a real tendency to understeer here. So number 1, we don't want to understeer. Number 2, we want a good exit. Now you'll have seen I'm braking somewhere between 3 and 2 marker, depending on once again how the car feels. Sometimes I brake a bit later, a bit closer to the 2 marker, but the really important bit is not running too deep into this corner. Okay, so this looks like a really, really tight, shallow line here that you probably wouldn't want to do. And what I noticed once again is most people take a much wider line either in or out. What I find is because of the camber and everything else going on, the car just doesn't really want to get on the gas that well. So I actually go really tight here, get it kind of pointing the way I want, and then just get on the gas really hard. And the car will come out the other side way, way faster. Okay, so notice how quickly that car hooked up out that corner. The other thing is, you might not have spotted it, but my thumb has gone to the joystick to push the brake bias forward to plus 0.5. So this is really important for the section at the end of this. Basically, you get this squiggly section where it will fast sweep through and you've got adverse camber changes and all sorts of stuff. By pushing the brake bias forward and actually keeping it forward for the rest of the lap, we make sure the car is in a lot more of a stable situation through these sort of sweeping camber changes and everything else. If it was backwards, like it was at the start of the lap, it would unsettle the car. Okay, so we brake in between the 1 and 2 board, and then we sweep in 4th gear, we drag the brake the whole way through, then down to 3rd, then eventually down to 2nd, we'll actually run over a bit of the track as well. You don't get an off track and it straight lines it a bit. And then when we drop into the corner, we basically want to get out of it as soon as possible. Okay, so this is a corner I see a lot of people push really wide at. Once again, it's adverse camber, it's dropping away. The car's tendency will be to understeer. What I find is if you actually get onto the apex, brake, turn the car in, just power out. That's the way to go. Probably one of the trickiest corners on the whole circuit. This has a real tendency to unsettle the car unless you hit it in the right way. So notice where the car is up ahead and where that curb is next to that. Basically, we're straight lining this first curb. We're going to straight line this. I'm going to probably come off the throttle ever so slightly, settle the car slightly, and then we're going to turn through the second corner, and then the car's going to go and drift. We need to manage our throttle to make sure we don't push too far wide. So I'll typically start decelerating just past the 2, but the 1 is roughly where I'm going to slightly sweep the car in. And you'll see that I'm trailing the brake as I'm turning in, and then I'm going to sweep through into 4th and then probably just coast a bit through the middle of the corner and then set up into the right-hander to make sure that I'm getting a good sweep through. So I honestly don't think this lap is my best. I think check out that other quali lap. This corner here, you can sometimes take it in 4th, you can sometimes take it in 3rd. 4th will give you the traction to get out of the corner without it spinning up too much. 3rd will allow you to turn the car in more. So you notice I'm using this inside rumble to kind of give me an indicator of how wide I'm going to go on the exit. I'm also using the throttle in 3rd to kind of rotate the car into it a bit more. And what you'll notice is I'll use it all the way over the top and then I'll drop into 4th. So by dropping it into 4th, it just helped those rear tyres grip a bit more, not spin up too much. And we're pulling over to this curb, and then that's going to shoot us all the way over to the left, and then we're going to turn into the corner ready to get onto the main straight again. Okay, so we've had our brake bias at plus 0.5 for quite a lot of the lap, and now we're going back down the straight, ready for that first corner that makes such a difference on this track. And I'm going to flick it all the way back down to minus 1.5, ready to start it all over again.
That's your quickest lap.
Okay, and so that was a 128.2. I'll now play that non-stop end to end with no interruptions, so you can just see it actually play out normally. And then after that I'll show a 128.1 lap just because I wasn't in the heat of a battle in a race, full fuel, etc, etc, and I think some of my lines and my braking points were just a bit neater.
Fastest lap for Costa, 128.00 P2.
Okay, so we're now going to look at a 128.1 I did in a quali. So we've got the advantage that we've got low fuel, but obviously we've got the disadvantage that our tyres aren't really up to full operating temperature. But I've done this in fixed view, so hopefully it'll help people that don't like the fact that the VR's moving around as much. I've also tried to overlay some of the steering and throttle pedal inputs as well, but I won't commentate over it, so you can just watch it as normal. So I'll be honest, I hadn't watched that until now. The car was all over the place in a few places, squirming about, all sorts. I'm surprised it was even that fast. With those sort of bits and pieces, I think if I'd actually nailed that properly and got all the sections without it squirming and getting a little bit out of control in a few places, that would have easily been well in the 127s, probably a 127.8 easily. As with the last section, obviously I was adjusting my brake bias as I went round, but you might not have caught it. But yeah, pretty similar to the last bit, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's really it. I don't think I'm going to be the quickest person this week. I think there'll be plenty of people faster than me, but I just thought I'd make this video because I was noticing on the public servers that a lot of people seem to be struggling a bit. I had about 1 to 2 seconds on a lot of people. So hopefully this video is going to help you. Let me know if it does or doesn't in the comment section below. And once again, cheers for watching. If you've enjoyed it and it's got some value, please like. If it's the first time you've found this channel, then please subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.